Career in biostatistics. Number one, understand what biostatistics is. Biostatistics applies statistics to clinical trials, drug development, public health studies, epidemiology, genetics, real world evidence studies, healthcare analytics. Biostatisticians help design studies, analyze medical data, and support regulatory submissions. Number two, build strong educational foundation. You can enter this specific field by selecting statistics, mathematics, life sciences, or pharmacy stream. You can also do the bachelor's in statistics, mathematics, life sciences, and pharmacy. Also, if you want, you can go ahead and do the masters, but it is highly recommended to do masters in biostatistics or in statistics, MPH, biostatistics and data science, healthcare. PhD is a specific optional degree if you require, or if you think that that might help you in your career. You can go ahead and avail this PhD degree by doing any research scientist or advanced modeling or any academic careers, or you can select any specific topic that you want to do PhD from any hospitals or from any college or university, from under the leadership of any professor or a specific the relevant person. Number three is learn core statistical concepts. Now you should master what descriptive statistics is, what is probability, success and failure, then hypothesis testing, that means what is null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, why it is required, what are the differences, then what are equivalent studies, what are inferiority trials, then what are superiority trials. So you should understand the difference between these concepts. Then the confidence interval. So which is your 95% confidence interval, whether it is one tail test or two tail test. So this specific concern you need to learn. Then the regression analysis, there are various analysis, especially in regression, whether it's linear, logistic, or some other survival related specific analysis. Then the ANOVA, ANCOVA, what are the difference between ANOVA and ANCOVA. Then survival analysis, when it is used, whether is it used in cancer studies or it is used in other non-cancer studies. Then the longitudinal data analysis, now when this is used in which therapeutic area, under what conditions and assumptions. Then the Bayesian statistics and the clinical trial statistics. Now once you master all these statistical concepts theoretically is fine, but then you need to also understand its practical as to how we are going to apply the descriptive statistics in clinical trials. So that should be clear. Number four, you can learn the statistical programming because it is important in pharmaceutical companies, clinical trials where it is being conducted. It's a requirement, like SAS is a requirement in clinical trials. Then the regulatory submissions, whenever you are submitting any your study, you need define.xml, right? So for that SAS is important. Then you can learn SAS through various kind of procedures, like what is the difference between data step and proc step, then what are the different proc step, whether it's means, frec, SQL, mixed, then what are macros, then what are simple macros, what are nested macros, how do you debug these macros. So all these concepts you need to learn. Then R is widely used in research, academics and machine learning. Now R is a specific software which is completely free. You can search in Google and you can download all those files and you can easily unlock it and you can install on your machine, and you can start learning R. Python is useful in data science, AI and ML, automation and visualization. Number five is understand clinical trials and healthcare domain. Now, what is clinical trial? What are the different types of phases in clinical trial? Why these phases are essential? And what are the requirements and why it is done? So, what is randomization? Then blinding. What are the different types of blinding? So, single blinding, double blinding. then open phase study. So these all blending types you need to understand. Next is endpoint analysis. So what are the different types of endpoint analysis? Primary, secondary, exploratory. What are the difference between these three concepts? So that you should know. Then the safety analysis, like what domains especially are included in safety analysis, and what is CDIS standards? What are the different types of standards that are there in CDIS? What is C dash, SEND, then SDTM, ADAM, define.xml. Then again the regulatory guidelines, and there are important organizations. Now what is US FDA? When does a molecule undergo the US FDA regulatory submission? Then what is European Medicines Agency? This falls under which country specific? Now ICH, International Council of Harmonization. This ICH guidelines, is it specific to any specific country, or that needs to be followed by all the organizations that are there in the world in any clinical trial? So these differences you should understand when ICH needs to be done, used, when EMA guidelines follow, then when US FDA guidelines follow. So that basic understanding and foundation is very important when you build a career in biostatistics. Your fundamentals should be very much clear. Number 6 is learn important industry standards. Now, CD standards are very important in pharmaceutical industry, especially SDTM, ADAM, define.xml. Now, there are various tools which helps this CD standards to use. So, number 1 is SAS and Pinnacle 21. So, what are the two different types of softwares, community and enterprise? What is the difference between these two, Pinnacle 21? So, those are things, basic concepts that you should be aware. Now, since you're already interested in clinical data and SAS related topics, this area can strongly complement your learning path. So, this CD standards, if you learn, it adds as a feather in your career or in your biodata. That's an additional knowledge that you have gained. Number 7 is develop practical skills. Now, as far as we go in schools, colleges, then institutes, and then we go to some other outside international universities, theoretically is fine. You have understood everything, you keep writing your journals and all those. That is theoretical. But unless and until you get the practical experience, you will not be able to understand the theory 101%, right? So if you want to understand the theory in a better way, uh, your practical experience is very much needed. Only then your theory will be completely understood, 100% everything, whatever doubts that you might be having during your school, colleges, and your certain institutes, if this happens and what happens in the real data. So real data, then the mock projects and the healthcare data sets, which are generally in the public hospitals or some other institutes. So that will help you a lot in understanding the theory in a better way. Then you can also work on data cleaning, then what is statistical analysis plan, why it is required, when it needs to be approved, then who are the stakeholders that need to sign in that specific document, who is the author of this document, then what is table listings and figures, then what is the um, um, mock shells, and what is the final submission of TLF. So you should know the difference between these two. Then the survival analysis, then what are the different types of reporting? Now, when statistical analysis report is submitted, when is a clinical study report is submitted? So these two differences you should know. What is the difference between SAR and CSR? All these things, skills, you can understand in a better way unless only and only when you have done the practical experience. Theory is fine, but practical is very important. Number 8 is learn advanced biostatistics topics. Now, after basics that you have learned, you can go forward with learning the advanced topics like survival analysis, mixed effect models, what is nonlinear models, machine learning in healthcare, then the real world evidence data, then what is pharmacokinetics, what is pharmacodynamics, what is the difference between PK and PD. So that is very important. Then population PK. So in which molecule you use PK, and in which molecule you should use pharmacodynamics. So that also should be very much clear. Now since you are learning non-mem pop PK basics, advanced PK and PD biostatistics can become a strong specialization for you. Number 9 is build portfolio projects. Now we can create projects like clinical trial efficacy analysis, adverse event analysis, and Kaplan-Meier survival curves, and logistic regression studies, real-world healthcare dashboards. Now I remember when I was in MSc, while completing the masters in statistics, there was a specific, like a small project, that was supposed to be submitted. So I had approached an hospital, and that hospital had given me some kind of a data in coordination with the professor's approval, and like you are submitting this specific project for gaining the master's degree, the practical experience of the project. So you need to also take the consent of the professors, and that's how you go, and that's how you get the access. And that's once you get the data from any hospitals or any government institutes, you can select one topic, whether you want to show Kaplan-Meier survival curves or any other research studies that you would like to do. So that practical portfolio project submission was very mandatory when I was doing MSc statistics in the year 2003. I'm not sure what is the current situation right now in most of the colleges and universities, but if there happens to be any submission of portfolio projects practically while getting the master's degree certificate, then this might help you to understand the practical experience. Number 10 is learn visualization and reporting. Now there are various tools, which is rshine, tableau, power bi, ggplot, then matplot library. So these are all our tools, that will help you in learning visualization and reporting, that can help how to make the complex medical data simple. Number 11, gain industry experience. Now, once you have completed your school, then you have gone to college, and after college, you have gone to universities. All that is fine. You have read so much of materials. Theoretically, you have read books, journals, and files, and all that. But the industry experience is very essential. So, once you come out of the university, the very first step is to get the internship. Now there are many various companies, they try to invest money in resources for giving internships, so that they get a good productivity of employees in future. Then there might be some freelance projects, some hourly basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, or it could be even project wise. So if you complete one project, you get this much money. So those freelance projects is also must be available. You can approach them. Then you can start with any research assistant, say you have a company, they need an assistant, so you can start going there. Then CRO training program. So there might be some companies where for 2 to 3 months you will be undergoing training only, and once they see your interest as to how capable you are enough to grasp the training material, they will then decide whether to make you permanent employee. So there are various other companies, you can start approaching them for getting the industry experience. You can usually target companies which are related to pharma, CRO, hospitals, public health organizations, or AI health up startups, or any government institutes where they recruit the SaaS and the biostatistician candidates. Number 12 is improve communication skills. Now, biostatistician must explain results clearly. They should be able to write reports, discuss with doctors and scientists, present findings to regulatory and authorities. Now, remember one thing, there's a difference between a doctor and a biostatistician. Now, doctor will always speak in terms of organs, then medicine, then diagnosis, then injections. That it's not necessary that everything the all common layman person will understand what doctors and scientists will say. No. Similarly, biostatistician also will have a specific way of talking. But they will talk in terms of formulas and hypotheses and assumptions, and then the power and the alpha, then the type 1 and type 2. So they will speak in their specific whatever they have learned, but the doctor will not understand what is type 1 error in what is power and what is alpha, and biostatistician will also not understand as to what is this specific diagnosis. So there has to be a common bridge needs to be maintained, the doctors try to should the doctors and scientists, they should try to speak to biostatistician in such a way that they understand in a very common layman's language, right? So similarly, the biostatistician also should speak in a very common language to doctors and scientists in such a way that they understand what is the expectation. So now if you speak in hypothesis and all that, the doctors, they may not understand in the very first instance. So you need to explain the results very clearly and precisely as to what is it that you're talking, uh, converting the theoretical formulas into simple layman's language, so that a doctor or a person who is not from that background, that person should be able to understand what is it that you're talking. So that is needs to be improved. So that's how the bridge can be maintained between different stakeholders. Learn certifications optional but helpful. Now earlier it was not mandatory that you should have a certifications. So right now, if it is mandatory that you need to have certifications, and some companies, they don't require certifications, but it will be helpful to you in future, but it's an optional, it's not mandatory that you have to take certification, because certifications is also quite expensive and you have to invest lot of money also in that. So looking at your budget, you can take a decision whether you want to avail or not. So SAS certification, then clinical data science certifications, R programming, clinical research certification. So there will be various training institutes which are trademark institutes, they conduct this training. So once you have completed that training, even if you attend any workshops or seminars, ensure that after attending that workshop and seminars, ensure that company gives you the certificate for attending that workshop and seminar. That will help you and added weightage in your resume that you had attended that workshop, and that's what knowledge you had gained. So it's very essential to collect these certifications. Number 14 is career roles in biostatistics. Now there are various possible roles, in this specific stream. You can become a biostatistician. If you decide, you can become a statistical programmer, then clinical SAS programmer. Now there is also the difference between clinical SAS programmer and statistical programmer. There is another video, in specific my channel, you can go through and you can explore what is the difference between these two. So I have also mentioned that. Then data scientist and healthcare, then epidemiologist, PKPD analyst, clinical data analyst, real world evidence analyst. So these are the various possible roles that you can try to make career in biostatistics as a biostatistics. Many thanks for watching my video and happy learning. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.